Maini, it's such a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Martin, that you are interested in interviewing me. Thank you.
So let's get right to it. And let's talk a little bit about MASMOVIL. Let's talk about the telecommunications industry. I think actually it's safe to say that you are a role model for many of our hopeful entrepreneurs at IE Business School. You founded MASMOVIL in 2006, and its exponential growth is clearly a shining example of success. So what advice would you give to entrepreneurs with startup projects?
Well, thank you, Martin. I'm not perceiving myself as a role model. I'm just a hard worker, and I had some luck in life, in my professional life. But having said that, look, the thing is, if you start a business, I think you should surround yourself with great people, great professionals. So talent first is clearly the most important advice. When I was in IE Business School 20 years ago, so a long time ago already, I had this HR class, and I never thought that this would be that important. It was a bit high fly. Even some people called it bullshit. Now I know that's the most important thing. If you want to be successful in business, you have to have a great team, high density and talent in your team. Second point that is related. You should define very clearly the culture of the enterprise you want to work in. And that's not only put it into a paper, but live the values that you define. It's very important because that also makes it very easy not only to evaluate your team, but also to select well your team members, because they have to fit into your culture. And then there are other things like being professional from the very beginning, being agile, quick, and being responsive, and also being prudent in cash planning, because entrepreneurs tend to be over-optimistic. I was myself quite a few times. MASMOVIL is now a company that has revenues of almost 2 billion euros, but it was not always like that. The first half of our life, of our 15-year history, was very difficult, and we have been close to bankruptcy a few times. And that's why, because our planning was over-optimistic. So get a good CFO, a conservative CFO, that would be also an important recommendation.
So clearly resilience, I would say, is key as well. It seems, if you say that you've been multiple times close to bankruptcy. MASMOVIL obviously has played as well an important role, I think, during this pandemic. Actually, MASMOVIL was one of the first Spanish companies to step up when the current pandemic began, for instance, by donating smartphones or wireless routers to the Madrid health authorities, by the way, among other initiatives. What role do you think big businesses have in social impact initiatives?
Well, okay, one thing is to respond quickly in case of emergencies. I think that's a logical reaction. We were lucky that we had good connections to China for the production of masks and other sanitary material. So we could bring it to Spain because of our business experience, and that worked well. But that was a moral obligation. Further than that, I think, the vision of MASMOVIL is to be number one in client satisfaction, client experience, and also in impact, in positive impact. So we are managing the business with a long-term perspective. We don't care to optimize a quarter or a month. We're thinking of the long term and the impact that our decisions have on the people, on our clients, on our employees, and on all the citizens in Iberia. We are working in Spain and also in Portugal. That's the first one, the P, the people. The second one is obviously we have to be profitable. We have to generate benefits. And the third one is the planet. So this triple P orientation in our activities helps us a lot to don't lose of sight the importance of having real impact, positive impact in our world, in our environment. No? And that's well, it's part of strategy, but it's also a part of attitude. No, if you are just there to create a bubble on the short term to maximize your benefits, well, this is not the right strategy. We have been thinking always on the long term. No, it's true that initially we didn't expect that I would be here 15 years later than founding MASMOVIL, but we never wanted to create a fiction, a fake story. We wanted to have always a sustainable company. And that's very important. People with long-term vision, and those people have to include in their activities also social components, environmental components, and we take this very seriously. Actually, we have announced that MASMOVIL will be in the world the first B Corp certified telecom operator. So this is one of our priorities.
So let's stay a little bit with the pandemic. Obviously, the pandemic had significant impact as well on the way we work. So for instance, telecommuting or remote working has become really the norm these days. How has this as well impacted MASMOVIL?
Well, it's an interesting question. No, we had to move around 1,000 persons to work from home, 1,000 employees, and around 2,000 call center agents. And that was really challenging. Imagine to attend calls from home. And the advantage that we had there is that we are attending our clients 100% from Spain or from Portugal. No? So we don't do offshoring. And other operators that have a lot of offshoring in Latin America had a big problem because there a lot of people don't have internet at home. So overall, the process worked much better than expected. So our client satisfaction did not really suffer. In addition, what happened to us and to all other operators is the network usage increased significantly. In some days, it doubled in terms of minutes or gigabytes that we managed in our network. We managed to double, so that we had to anticipate some capacity investments, but overall, fine. Demand also increased because now everybody understood that they would have to have internet at home or in their second home even. No? So that helped, but it also increased the competition. Now, post-COVID, people wanted to recuperate, or the companies wanted to recuperate the lost business or revenues during the pandemic. In Spain, it was blocked, legally blocked, to change operator with the same number during 2 to 3 months. So we had to recuperate, and that led to a lot of additional competition, a lot of promotion, discounts, all but MASMOVIL, because we are a stable operator, we don't do crazy things. And because we think in the long run, people appreciate it, our clients appreciate that kind of strategy. They don't have to be afraid that we unilaterally increase the prices or that the promotion ends and suddenly they pay the double in a bill than the months before. And in terms of activity internally, we put the increased focus on quality assurance. It's very simple for telecom companies. We have to avoid problems. Our clients don't want to call us. They only call us if they have a problem. So this is really a big focus of MASMOVIL. Last year, we have been reducing problems for our clients by 50%. This year, we will almost reach a similar level. So this is our obsession, because we know if our clients don't have problems, they will be happier and they will stay with us.
Completely agree. Listen, let's move a bit away from MASMOVIL and come back a little bit to your time at IE Business School. As you still remember from your time at IE, our business school community is extremely diverse and international. You are an Austrian running a very successful company in Spain, here in Madrid. What would you say are some of the key lessons from your MBA that you apply in your business mentality?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't remember too much from the MBA because it's 20 years ago. No, but for me, the MBA was a very important moment in my life because I didn't study business before. I came from law, and it enabled me to change sides a bit, or to combine my legal knowledge with business knowledge. And I was in touch the first time with writing a business plan. So for me, probably without IE, it would have much more difficult to create my own company or MASMOVIL. So this is very good. In terms of mentality, I mean, I come from a small village in Austria, in the Alps, and obviously the mindset is not global there, no? Coming to Madrid, having a master program in 2 languages, I did it in English, and then at the end it was mainly Spanish, helped me to open the eyes, to be more open, to be friendly, to be interested, curious about learning things from other cultures, and that's always good. I told our recruitment team, look, a candidate that smiles will be positive for our environment. Then, okay, another thing is if he has the right qualification, etc. But if the attitude is right and a positive emotions are created, it's almost a secure bet. No, so being friendly, creating positivism is very important. And then the other thing is, I think in IE I learned also to be more analytical. You have to imagine, as a lawyer, I have not used, it was 20 years ago, no? I didn't use any computer during my law studies. So mathematics was eliminated of my life, Excel, etc. And I remember still in the first week in IE, they gave me a case, said, okay, with Excel, you should calculate a break-even calculation, no? And I didn't know what a break-even was. I didn't know what an Excel was, and I hardly knew how to turn on the laptop. So for me, this is also to be number-orientated, to have, let's say, this common sense, rational, this logical thinking was also, I think, improved for me during the MBA.
You clearly have come a long way since then. That is quite clear. Meini, really quickly, let's talk a little bit about current events. Actually, last week, MASMOVIL submitted a request for delisting. And you have actually said that the telecommunication market here in Spain needs some consolidation because there's an excess in capacity. So what is going on? What is happening in the Spanish market?
Well, the first point is, yes, MASMOVIL was a listed company for over 6 years. We got listed in 2014, initially in the small alternative market. This is the stock exchange for small and medium enterprises in Spain. And that helped us a lot to grow, to raise money, to do acquisitions, to accelerate our growth, etc. Then in 2017, we changed to the main stock exchange, the IBEX in Spain. 2019, we have been included in the main index, IBEX 35. And this year, we are leaving the stock exchange. Why? Because we received a friendly tender offer by 3 private equities, KKR, Providence, and Cinven. And so it's a takeover bid that was accepted by over 99% of the shareholders. And that means that we become a private company now in the coming days. No? Why is this happening? Because I think it's very positive to have stability. No? We have a few shareholders and we are not exposed to the volatility of the markets today, where we all know that we suffer a lot of uncertainty. We have MASMOVIL was listed a year before the pandemic at around 20 euros per share. During the pandemic, the share price reached 12 euros, and the tender offer was done at 22.5 euros. So clearly, it's not easy to do big transaction with this high volatility in the share price. and not caused by any company decision or action, but just because of the macro environment. No? So for us, we see it's positive to be able to do a bigger transaction, and we have, let's say, very solid and prestigious private equities on board. In terms of market, based on Financial Times, Spain is the most competitive telecom market in Europe. We have a lot of players. We have around 15 or 16 brands that are acting or competing on a nationwide level, both in mobile as well as in broadband. That's not normal. In the US, you have 3 players. In Germany, you have 3 players, etc. And so telecommunication has a lot of fixed costs, or let's say the entry barriers are investments, basically, because you have to have an infrastructure. And so it doesn't make sense that a lot of players invest into the same infrastructure. So consolidation is logically and needed in the Spanish market. And we are prepared to participate in an active role in this process. We will see what happens. You never know, because if you talk a lot about it, things will not happen. But we are optimistic that we evolve well, and that we will become even a bigger company within the next years. However, the number one objective for us is to be the operator in Europe with the highest client satisfaction, because this is really a differential, no?
So I certainly wish you luck for that. Let's talk a little bit about macroeconomics. The US says that Huawei's next generation networks could be used for spying. MASMOVIL has actually joined other European telecommunication companies in denouncing any bans of Chinese 5G suppliers simply for geopolitical reasons. How do you see the growth of China in relation to the tech industry in general and the telecommunication industry in particular?
Well, interesting question. For us, to just set the stage, we are in our mobile network. We have 100% Ericsson infrastructure, so both in the antennas, in the radio network, as also in the core network. This has some historic reasons, because the mobile network operator that we bought was a former Telia Sonera subsidiary. And Telia is a Swedish company, Ericsson is a Swedish company. So we are, in US terms expressed, we are a clean operator. Having said that, we believe that competition is good. It's good because it drives innovation. It also assures that we have reasonable prices to acquire the infrastructure. You have to see that in telecommunication, basically there are only 4 players in the world that have a relevant size. This is basically Nokia, Ericsson, ZTE, and Huawei. So if you eliminate the 2 Chinese, we run the risk that this will become an oligopolic market. No? So we clearly support competition. We think there are clear ways to assure security, avoid spying, etc. We just have to define clear technical requirements to avoid this. And we expect, in Spain at least, that this will happen, that there will not be a clear ban. I think that would be unfortunate, but a clear definition of how and what the manufacturers have to comply with.
So, staying a little bit with the telecommunication industry, what would you say are the top 3 trends that you're currently seeing in this industry, and why do you see these trends?
Well, the first I think is very logical. New generation networks will be deployed. Referring to 5G and to fiber networks, basically. I think that's very important trend. We cannot have the digital divide in countries like Spain, Portugal, etc., where we have still people that have no access to internet, or at least no high-speed internet. No? This will also help not only to the economy, etc. It will also help to avoid that people leave their small villages and have all to move to the big cities. Home working, I think, is a valid option in a lot of jobs now, and so we have to facilitate, let's say, a good connectivity everywhere in the territory. We are lucky in Spain because we are number one in terms of fiber and also mobile. We are a top country in Europe in terms of connectivity, but still there's work to do. We in MASMOVIL, we are deploying a lot in small villages, which is a lot of effort because you have to bring the connectivity to the small villages and you have to put cables and connectivities, and this is quite costly. But it's part of our social mission as well. No, if you see the people without connectivity and the joy and the pride that they have once they are connected, it's a fantastic experience. The second point I would say is the traditional operators have to prioritize higher client experience or client satisfaction in the broad sense. We see very little reasons why Netflix has hardly any call centers, and all the operators, the main way to attend clients is still the call centers. It means, on one hand, that we create too many problems still, and on the other hand, that we are not sufficiently advanced with digital tools to manage our clients. The other one is, and it's related, I think there's, maybe it's not a trend, but I think it's a necessity that operators become service companies. So there has to be an evolution. There has to be an evolution from a production plant of minutes and gigabytes to service company. We have also to work in general on a repositioning of the sector. It's almost easier to charge high price, €5 for a coffee, than increase your mobile bill by €5. And I think that says something that something went wrong. No, the mobile or the internet is base of our professional and also personal life, and we have to position it in a way that people also appreciate this service. If telecom operators do this move to a service company, it became customer-oriented organization, they will be able also to offer to our clients additional services, because we have a very direct relationship with the clients. We know a lot about the clients. We know where they move. We know a lot of, we have the data, we know who pays, who doesn't pay, etc. We know where they live. So there are a lot of other services that we can add. MASMOVIL is in the beginning of this road. We are doing consumer finance, we're doing energy, etc. But I think there are a lot of additional opportunities so that we create, on one hand, more value for our clients because they get everything from one hand. For ourselves, we reduce the churn, meaning people that leaving, changing all the time. We can be let's say, an important sector, a leading sector of the economy.
Meini, thank you so much for this exciting interview. Vielen herzlichen Dank und wir sehen uns bald wieder. Danke, Meini.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye. Ciao.